Hello, everybody, and happy Maca Monday for watching. So today is Monday, and like I mentioned on Friday, I will be doing a Monday and Friday chess segment, where I'll pretty much just be teaching you guys how to play chess and things like that. So pretty much just as a recap, last week we went over the board as well as the pieces, all the 8 pieces on the chessboard. The pawn, the bishop, the rook, the knight, the queen, the king. I'm pretty sure that was all of them. Um, well, no, that couldn't. I don't know. But yeah, so we went over all the pieces of the board. We went over how all the pieces move. And yeah, so if you guys want to, if you guys missed that, definitely tune into that video on the Macam YouTube channel. And so yeah, I'm gonna go over it briefly, show you guys, but then after that, to go over CPR, which we know that to be something different, but here at Macam it's something different as well. So we're gonna go over CPR, castling the center of the board, as well as applying chess to life. So let me go ahead and share my screen really quickly. Also, guys, bear with me. Sorry. This computer is kind of slow. It's a different computer from what I used last time. So just bear with me. Okay. You guys can see this is a chessboard, 64 players, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces. So I apologize saying. And so these right are the pawns, and this right here is the rook, knight, bishop, queen, king, bishop, and then so on and so forth. And just to quickly recap once again, the pawn moves forward on its first move, or it has the ability to move 2 times, 2 squares up on its first move. It attacks diagonally, but it cannot move backwards. The pawn is worth 1 point. And I guess we can go to the rook. The rook moves side, as you can see, the piece away, but we'll get into that a bit later. But the rook moves sideways, side to side, as well as up and down. Let's see what else about the rook. That's pretty much it. That's all that it can do. It can move backwards, as you heard, side to side, and as well as up and down. The rook is worth 5 points. And as you can see, it stays on the ends of each of the corner of the board. Now moving on, this is the knight worth 3 points, and it moves in a L shape. Okay, L or 7, however you guys want to, I guess, call it or say it or whatever. Right next to it is the bishop, also worth 3 points. Moves diagonally. That's pretty much it. Now, in the game of chess, you do have pawn promotion. However, unless you have promoted your pawn, you should not have 2 bishops on the same color. So there should be one bishop per person on each color. So one bishop should be on the white, but you should not have 2 bishops on one white square unless you pawn promoted. Okay, so next to that is the queen. In my opinion, the second most valuable piece on the board, my favorite personally, moves up and down, side to side, as well as diagonally. And like I said, all of the pieces are there. I can't really see, but I will go more into depth, sorry. And so this piece right next to it is, I don't know if I said this already, but it's worth 9 points. So next to it is a king. And king is how you win the game of chess. If you capture, or in this case, checkmate your opponent's king, then you win the game. So, and then that's the same bishop, knight, rook. Okay, so like I said, we will be going over today. We'll be going over CPR. Now, let me show you. Okay, so CPR. Just before I show you guys, I guess CPR is what you do when your king is in check. So if someone is, let me see. Actually, we're just gonna. Okay, actually, no, we're going to skip that. But okay, so if your king is in check, then you have 3 options: capture, protect, or retreat, or run, however you want to say that. So I'm going to just repeat it again, just so that we all know: capture, protect, and retreat. And it is in CPR, meaning capture, protect, retreat. You should try to capture the piece first, retreat, or capture, protect the piece, protect your king, or retreat. So this right here, if I'm not mistaken, okay, no, it's not this. Hold on, sorry guys. But what I'm gonna show really quickly, if I pull it up correctly, okay, so yeah, this is what you call, I'm pretty sure, I'm not too sure on the full name of it, but it does show you a quick way to I guess win a game of chess, but I also will be showing you more in depth about capture, protect, and retreat. So if you guys remember, we went over chess notation as well on Friday. And so with that being said, we're just gonna hear me talk about files or ranks. Then, if you don't know what that means, I'm just gonna go over it really, really quickly. Ranks are the numbers, and the files are the letters here at the bottom. So if you guys hear me saying, oh, the B file or the B, sorry, mix it up. So yeah, the B file. If you guys hear me saying the B file, just know that it's this entire row right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this demonstration. So the pawn on E2 moved from E2 to E4. Now, as you guys can see, this made room for the queen to be able to open and as well to get out. Sorry, not open. Okay, so and then also in the game, white goes first. So white first, then black. However, before that even happens, make sure that you always begin and end each game with a handshake. However, the computer, gonna skip past that. But okay, so the white goes first, then black moves. So the black pawn moved from E7 to E5. I guess I can go back and show you guys that really fast. So the pawn on E2 is gonna go up 2 squares to E4. And remember, if you guys paid attention last Friday, a pawn has the ability to move 2 squares on its first move or one, but that's only on the first move. So then the black pawn does the same thing, comes out and blocks it. So moves from E7 to E5. So the next move is the bishop on, okay, so the bishop on F1 moves from F1 to C4. Okay, so now black's knight comes out and moves from B8 all the way to C6. Now, if you guys remember, the letters and then one to the left or right, depending on which way it's positioned, I guess. Okay, so now it's white's move again, sorry. So it goes from D1 and all the way to H5. Okay, so really quickly right here, this is, in the game of chess, you should always have your pieces protected. So even, as you can see, the queen is in no line of danger. The queen cannot come and attack this queen. She's nowhere near danger. And so when you make moves in chess, make sure that they're make sure that they are strategically placed. Sorry, I was, but yeah, okay. So then the knight comes out again, the black's knight comes out again from G8 all the way to F6. So let's see what white does again. So white's queen moves from H5 all the way to F7. And if you guys can see, like I said previously about protecting your pieces, so black's not oof, black's king, if hold on, black's king could come and capture. However, well, it could do that if the bishop wasn't there. But since the bishop is there, it moves diagonally. You cannot put yourself into checkmate, actually. Well, check or checkmate for that matter. So moving on to CPR, well, I guess it's kind of defeating the purpose of CPR, but in this case, the game is over because the king has nowhere else to move. It can't move right here to E7 because the queen also moves side to side. So that's it. The game is over. But if you are in check, at least check is before you actually reach checkmate. So there's a potential, it's you have a potential chance to be able to escape. And so if that happens, if you are in check, just make sure that you go through CPR, which is capture, protect, and retreat. Now, like I said, this is an easy way to win the game of chess if your opponent doesn't see it coming. So I'm going to go over it just one more time because that did go by kind of fast. Also, if I'm still going too fast, because I've been told that I talk a little fast. And so if I am going too fast for you guys, we do have a YouTube channel. And so it'll be uploaded pretty soon after it comes out today. So just if you guys want to, you can always check it out on the YouTube channel as well. Okay, so like I said, we're just going to go over it one more time. So the pawn on e2, e2 to e4. And just so that you guys can see, I hope that you guys can see cursor. This is the E right here, and then well, I guess we're going to go to e4 since it's on e4. And that's how we get that. Also, like I mentioned on Friday of last days, letter first, then the number. So letter first followed by the number. And that's pretty much just because it's like the first and last name, pretty much. So E is the first name of the square, and so E and then 4 would be the last name of the square. So the pawn moves from E2 to E4, and then it goes, then the black's pawn moves from E7 all the way down. Okay, so then, and then once again, as you guys see, it leaves the open line for the queen as well as the bishop, which is already moved. So then white's bishop on F1 moves from F1 to C4. Okay, so after that, black's knight moves from B8 all the way to C6. Now, if I'm just going to pause right here just to, I guess, make you guys aware of something. Now, as you can see, the spot right in front of black's king is open. Now, me personally, I don't like to have my king out in the open. And I know that right here, mine is as well, but we're kind of more of the offensive player and they're kind of being defensive in this case. So I feel like it's kind of different when you're playing offensive, or when you're playing offense, sorry. But yeah, so you should always protect your king. We're going to go into, after this display, we're going to go into a way to protect your king. But yeah, pretty much just, if I were you guys, especially for newer chess players, I would try to keep one in front, something to protect at all costs. Okay, so next step is after the knight moves from B8 to C6. Let's see what happens again. Then the queen moves from B1 all the way to H5. And I'm just going to show you guys again. As you go side to side, she does it all pretty much. Okay, so then after the queen comes out, then the knight comes out. Now, and I didn't point this out at first, but as the knight moves in L shapes or 7 shapes, this right here could have been, well, actually they couldn't. I was going to say that they could have, but they just moved, so that was kind of it. But, if, let's say the white just moved right there, then the knight would be able to come and take the queen. However, since black just moved, white can. Okay, so the knight moved from G8 all the way to F6. And then after that, the queen says, you know what, I'm just going to take this pawn right here. Takes the pawn on F7. Now, said in this case, the queen or the king it can't do anything because of where the bishop is placed. That's like I was saying previously, just make sure that when you guys are playing, you should always protect your pieces. Because here at Matham, if your pieces aren't protected and we're just able to take it, we call them free pieces. And you don't want to be giving away free pieces because, each piece is worth some points. So at that point, you're just losing points. So if you guys can, as much as you can, also make sure that you're protecting your pieces. Okay. So, and I'm gonna show you guys once again why the king has nothing to do. So one, kings only move one square at a time. So it cannot take the queen because the bishop is right here in that line. Okay, and you cannot move yourself into check or checkmate into chess. And then the king also cannot move to E7 because the queen moves side to side. So that's what we call checkmate. Now, I know I've been saying checkmate and check a lot, but I don't know if I fully went into it. And so check is pretty much when that's when you CPR, pretty much. CPR, capture. retreat or run, however you want to say it. So with check, the game isn't over. But you need to, kind of pay more attention as your king is in check. The checkmate, that's it. The game is over. There's nowhere else for your piece to go, for your king to go. Okay, so that was just a quick way that you guys can win a game of chess based on if your opponent isn't fully, aware or familiar with this. Now, we're going to go ahead and go into castling now. And just like what I was mentioning with CPR, castling is a way to protect your king. However, you cannot castle yourself out of check, meaning if your king is in check, meaning, it's being threatened by another piece, you cannot capture yourself you cannot castle yourself out of check. So you should always castle before, I personally like to get all of my power pieces out into the open, then castle, but then keep a few pawns in the front just to protect. Also, before I show you guys how to actually do it, you cannot, hold on. Okay, you cannot castle if your rook has already moved or if your king has already moved. If either one of those pieces have already moved, that's it. You cannot castle anymore. Okay, so since, as you guys know, there are two rooks, one right here, one, technically four, but each person has two. So the one on A1 and the one on H1 as well. So you can castle on either side, but if you move the king or the rook earlier in the game, then you can't do it. Even if you move the king and then you put him back to where he originally was, you still cannot move him, or you cannot castle. Sorry. Okay, let's go ahead and just show you guys how it's done. So, sorry, I think I'm talking a little loud, but so you move the king from E1 over squares, and then the rook is going to come on the other side. So obviously, you're actually playing in person, the rook isn't going to magically move itself over. So pretty much you just, let me go back here. You move the king over 1, 2 squares, and then you move, I wish I could do this by myself. Then you move the rook over to its right side. Okay. Now, and then as you guys can see, there are 4 pawns right here to protect. And that's what I was saying. I personally like to leave a few pawns just in front so that, let's say, for how to add pieces, but if there was, a piece threatening another piece or threatening the king or trying to, the pawn can come and attack it easily. And so then we're just going to do this again on black side. So we're going to move the knight or the king over 2 squares and the rook over to its side as well. Okay, so I'll show you guys this once again. I said, just as a quick recap, and I will go over everything again, just in case some people are joining late and stuff like that. But you can. Okay, so this right here is called castling. You cannot castle. I'm just going to give you guys the rundown of things you cannot do. You cannot castle yourself out of check. You cannot castle if you've already moved your king or your rook. And I think that's it. I'm pretty sure those are the only no's. And so I said, oh, and then, okay, so this is called the queen side of castling and the king side. And then if you guys remember why, the queen sits right here it sits right here. And like I said, queens always like to match. So black queen is going to be on the black square, white queen is going to be on the white square. So it sits on the D file, and it's called the queen side because, it's moving to the queen side of the board. This is on the king side. So once again, just move the king over 2 squares and move the rook over. Now, this is the only time, the absolute only time, that the king is able to move over more able to move in 1 square at a time. Other than that, the king can only move once at a time, 1 square at a time. Now, back to black side, move the king over 2 squares, and then the rook move it over 1. Well, um, And so yeah, and like I was saying too, just let me see. Actually, no, I think I clicked the wrong thing. So yeah, just keep these out in front just at times. Um, but okay, it's loading, so we're just gonna go ahead and go to the next section. Um, Now actually, I'm gonna stop. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys personally about more about Malcolm and about how we tie chess into life. Because for the first few episodes, you know, we're yet since Friday and today we've been going into the board itself. However, I want to tell you guys because you know if you're familiar with Malcolm, then you know that we like to tie chess into life, tie chess into common sense and things like that. And so pretty much I can't bring here again. But hold on, let me pull it back up. Okay, so actually it was this screen. Okay, so if you see right here, the four here, um, the four, D5, and then E4 and E5, those are the four center squares of the board. And we at Macam like to think of those squares pretty much the center of your life. Because, like I said, we tie the game of chess to the game of life, or not the game of life, but to life as well. So, with that being said, you know, with chess, you want to control the four centers of the board, the four inner, the four middle squares of the board, because it helps you. It pretty much helps you. If you control those squares, then you control the game, pretty much. So, also, if you control, you know, the four inner corners or the four middle squares of your life, or you know, if you can control the center of your life, rather, for better wording, then you control your entire life pretty much. So you want to surround yourself with positive people, positive influences, things like that, so that you can have the best outcome in life. Now, okay, so let's go ahead and just backtrack really fast. We went over castling, CPR. Um, okay, so now let me see. I'm gonna go ahead. CPR just one more time because you know that, in my opinion, you can get out of or how to protect your king. And so capture C, P, and then R, which is retreat. And also, guys, didn't watch the if you guys haven't already tuned in to the live stream that we had on, be sure to check it out on the YouTube channel. Okay, so now let me see. Actually, what I want to do is I know I already went over it, but I want to go over the opening again. Because honestly, guys, it took me a really long time to know how to do it. And to this day, I still sometimes mess it up a little bit. But I'm going to go over that one more time and go more in depth into it. Strategically explain all the moves that are made and things like that. Actually, yeah, we're going to start with that and I'll go into it. Okay, so first move, the white pawn on E2 moves to E4. And like I said, the pawns are able to move two squares in their first move. That's it. They can only move two squares on their first move. I hope that makes sense. Every other piece, every other piece, but the pawn is the only one that only moves once at a time, or one square at a time, other than on its first move. So from E2 to E4, then black moves pawn on the E file again to from E7. And after that, we're going to move our from F1 to E4. Okay. So then black is going to move its knight, I believe. Yes, it's knight from B8 to C6. Okay. And so if you guys remember, knights move in L shape. So just to show you guys again, because they have the most, in my opinion, complex form of moving, I guess you can say. And so I just want to make sure that you guys understand that as well. Okay. So then that white queen from D1 to H5. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a way to stop this. Since, you know, I've been over this a few times, haven't really showed you guys how to, you know, stop it. So, what I would do personally is come right here and move. As you guys can see, it kind of messed up everything over here because it's already it's already a set plan. But okay, so let's say that the pawn or the queen was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and take it and move on with my plan. If it did that, it's now being attacked by two different pieces, which is this pawn right here on H7 as well as this pawn right here on F7. Now, take this right here, and then you can move the bishop, and it was like, you know what, still going to go through the plan. So move the bishop from C4 to F7. Now, the king can easily just come and take the bishop, and that's it. That's the end of that whole plan. And now you guys are playing a regular average game of chess without, you know, that extra piece. And so now I'm just gonna go ahead and go back a little bit, and I'm gonna show you guys how to castle you know, when they're on display. Now I'm not really strategic. I'm not going to strategically move these pieces. I'm essentially just showing you guys where to move them, how to move them, and how to. Okay, so since we've already opened with the, I'm pretty sure that's called. So go ahead and move the pawn from E2 to E4, 5. Get the bishop out from F. We can have back move strategically as well. So from B8 to C6, yeah, our knight as well, get her out. This piece is just so I can show you guys how to castle in a real game. And so all the, oops, she was on a black square. So we're going to move the queen, let's say here. Now we're going to go ahead and move the king over 2 squares, and then the rook will follow. Okay, so now let's say that the queen still wanted to take the king, right? Okay, so with it being castled, it has the 3 barriers of protection as well as knight as well because the rook is right there. Now, let's say that the queen was, you know, feeling a little bold or whatever, and she moved down and took this pawn right here. So she moved from G5 to G2 and took this pawn right here. Now, because of the way that it was already protected, the king can just easily come and take the queen. Okay? If you guys are paying attention, the queen is worth 9 points. So a pawn for a queen, that's not an equal exchange. And also here at Malcolm, what we like to do is if your opponent because that was, you know, your free queen. So here at Malcolm, if we're giving a free queen, then we like to kiss her, you know, just be respectful about it and everything. But yeah. So pretty much I just wanted to show you guys how to castle in a real game. Now I'm gonna rewind it back a little bit as well, just to show you guys a real game where you need to go through TPR as well. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna actually go back a little. Oh, never mind. Okay, so now I'm pretty sure white just moved, so now it's black's turn to go. Let's see. We're gonna move. Actually, okay, we're gonna move this pawn right here. So now white can move. We're gonna go ahead and proceed. We're gonna move the knight from B to A3. Now, also another thing, I'm not sure if I mentioned on Friday, but I'm going to mention it right now. In chess, if you touch a, you have to move it. Now, obviously, I'm on the computer, so it's a little different. However, that's called touch move, and if you touch a piece, you have to move it. So, I'll put that out there. Okay. So after that, let's say let's see here, what piece? Um, we're gonna say that. Oh, I did not see that. Okay. Let's say that queen comes down to about right. No, right there. Yeah. Okay. So let's say the queen moves from D8 to H4. Okay. Now let's say that our opponent, well, dang, can't move yourself in the check. Okay. Let me go back a little bit because I messed that up. Okay. So white last move, we're gonna move this pawn right there. Okay. So, so now there's an say that the queen moves right here. Now this is what you would call check because the king is in check. However, it still has ways to get out of check. Now, sorry guys. But so let's say going to first go through each step: capture, protect, and retreat. Now, since capture is the first one, that is what we will be doing first. So we're gonna try to do that. If there is no way to capture, then we'll move on to protect. If there's no way to protect, then we'll move on to retreat. So capture. There is no way to capture the queen because okay, so the knight moves in L shapes. So can't do that. All the pawn can do is move up. Um, and so, yeah, there's no other piece of carrot or anything like that. Not that it would necessarily matter, but the pawns cannot move backwards. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, capture, now we're moving on to protect. So, as you guys seen, this pawn on G2 is able to move, to G3. Now, this is going to protect your king. However, let's say that the queen was like, you know what? No, came from H4 to G3. Now what? I'm pretty sure that this is checkmate. Let me double check just to be sure. Um, yeah, there's nowhere. Oh, I'm not. But so now, again, we're gonna go through CPR again. Capture. We can definitely capture. So we can take the queen right there. Well, okay, I'm gonna show you guys all of them: capture, protect, and retreat. But since capture is the first thing that we would do, that is, or the first letter, that is the first thing that we would do to protect. So capture right here. Protect. Protect. I don't really see any. Oh, okay. Well, we can move the knight from H3 to F2. Or as far as retreating, we can come literally right here or right there. But that's not what we're gonna do. So first thing is capture, and there you go. And now you're. However, like I said earlier, me personally, I like to castle A side pretty much because that's one of the easiest ways to protect your king without the stress of having to do it while you're on your check. Because in my opinion, well, in general, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel like this, but it's pretty stressful trying to, look at all the possible and keep, your eye on the board while trying to figure out how to protect your king. Because strategic chess players and, more experienced chess players, but more experienced chess players tend to kind of think out like maybe 2 to 3 or, however many they choose, many steps ahead. Therefore, if you move here, they already have backup plan for if you move here and after that, or if you don't, they have backup plans. And so while you're trying to make sure that you move the right piece in the right spot and all of that, and you still have to, pay attention to the rest of the entire board, that's why I personally just like to castle from jump. That way, you don't have to worry about it later. And just like this, I can show you guys again how to castle. I'm pretty sure I did move the king. Yeah, okay, I did. So I'll show you guys up here. So Now it's Black's turn to move. So we're gonna move this bishop right here on C8 all the way down to H. Now, this I'm just showing you guys just so I can get it out the way, but that's not necessarily too smart because after you took the knight, which again we're just gonna go ahead and go over the numbers of the points. The knight is worth 3 points. The bishop is worth 3 points as well. But I mean, kind of like I said on Friday, it's kind of like a tit for tat. Like it's an equal exchange, but you know, when you're taking pieces, make sure that you're also strategic about that. And so, but I can also come right here and take the bishop. However, just to show you guys again, this is once again called the queen side of passing on the queen side because the queen sits on the d. Now, I'm going to move the king 2 squares over, and then the rook will follow suit. Now, as you can see, there is, but coming from here, it's more safe, or it's safer, sorry. Which is why also, if you are going to castle on the queen side of the board, you should always have 4 pawns. If you're going to castle on the king side, you should have 3 pawns protecting the castle, I guess. Um, so yeah, and just to go over it, why castling is important. Castling is one way to protect your king, and the king is important because that's how you win the game of chess. If your king is put in checkmate, that's it. The game is over. There's nothing else that you can do after that situation. um, it. So, because of that, that's why we want to protect our king at all costs, all everything. Um, and so yeah, I'm pretty sure. Actually, hold on. I wanted to show you guys, but like I said earlier, this computer is a little slow, so just bear with me as I'm trying to load it. I thought that I pulled it up already, so I'm sorry about that inconvenience. But let me go ahead and see again. Also, guys, if you have chess.com, you know, if you guys would like a tutorial on how to make one or anything like that, just let me know. Or if you guys want to send me a challenge, just any of that, just let me know. Okay. Don't want that. Let me go here. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I'm very impatient. But I guess I can just talk to you guys. So like I said, we here at Macam like to tie chess into life. Therefore, am I logged in? So the choices that we make should be strategic and should be, you know, pretty much thought out and all of that, just so that when we do, you know, make decisions and stuff like that in life, we have the right thought process and all of that behind it so that we can have the best possible outcome. Just like in chess, when we're playing chess, you should always think about your steps or think about your moves. I'd say at least 2 steps ahead, just to be safe. Um, so yeah. And you know, like I said, just controlling the 4 corners, D4. If I say I'm sorry, but E4 and E5. Those are the four center corners of the board. Now, or not corners, but the 4 center squares. And it's important to control those. Yep, D4, D5, E4, E5. Sorry. But it's important to control those because you control those squares, you control your life or control the board. And then if you control the center of your life, you control your life. You know, who wouldn't want to have control over their lives? So once again, I'm trying to go ahead and up, but it's taking a long time. um, I hope you guys are having a good day. Also, make sure that you guys are tuning in to the make sure that you guys are tuning in to the YouTube channel, as well as all of the other things that we have at Macam, the art of storytelling, just different things like that. So, oh, I'm so sorry, guys. This is taking a long, long time. Um, I'm almost tempted just to say forget it because it's taking a long time. I'm sorry, guys. I really thought that I clicked on this stuff already before. Guess not. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I already went over one of these, but we're just gonna go ahead and make sure, just to be sure that I haven't went over it. So yeah, if you guys see me looking over here, I wrote down notes and everything so that it's not too all over the place when I'm going over everything and stuff like that. Also, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat, or not in the chat, but comments or anything like that. Sorry, I've been in school for two. Sorry, but yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, be sure to comment them, or reaching out or anything like that, just so that we can get all your questions answered and things like that. Okay, so that's the first thing that I went over. Now moving on. It'll load. Oh, let me see. I'm trying to make sure that I went over everything. Yeah. Still just waiting. Sorry guys, I used a different computer last Friday. But I can't use that computer right now, which is why I'm on this one. Hopefully I'll be able to use it again next Friday, which brings me to that. Make sure that you guys tune in every Monday and Friday. I will be teaching Mondays and Fridays at 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Every Monday, every Friday. Mountain Standard, 7 o'clock. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that this is a stalemate. Now, and I'm just looking at it, not 100%. I'm pretty sure this is stalemate. But stalemate is essentially when pretty much no one wins. It's when you are overpowered on the board, and the it's when you're overpowered on the board, and there's pretty much just nothing that the king can do. So let me go ahead and show you guys this. Let me make sure this starts at the very beginning. Okay, so as you can see, the king is by itself. There's no other black pieces on the board. But there are 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 white pieces on the board. Now, this can be a good or a bad thing. In my opinion, it's a bad thing. And that's why I said too, when you take your opponent's pieces, make sure that you're strategically taking them, because if you end up taking all their pieces, then you guys can result in a stalemate. Now, let's see here. We're gonna go ahead and move the first piece. So the queen moves from E4 all the way to E. Well, not all the way, but from E4 to E5. Now, if you guys can see, and the king moved a little bit as well, the queen is threatening the king. Now, what's the king gonna do? Or I mean, sorry, CPR, capture, protect, or retreat. Now, because the king is by himself, there's nothing that he can do or there's no way that he can capture. So then protect, once again, he's by himself, can't protect. So his only option is to retreat. So the king is going to move. It'll play. I'm sorry, y'all. This computer is super, super slow. Okay. Okay, so as you can, I'm gonna just go ahead and walk through it without, I guess, the movements, I guess. But as you can see, the king is in attack, or in it is being attacked. So the king can move right. Oh, yeah, can. Okay, the king can move right here. Why can't it move right there? Hold on. There must be a piece. Oh, okay, the bishop right here. Okay, never mind. So sorry, I didn't see the bishop right here. So, and like you've seen, you cannot move yourself into check in chess. So, because of that, oh, actually, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I explained this so wrong. Okay, so this stalemate is when the king is not in check yet, but there's no other, no, it's not, okay. I'm sorry. Stalemate is when the king is in check, however, there are no other spaces for the king to move to. Sorry, I completely explained that wrong. Which is why there's no other places to move to, because there's pieces protecting. Now, if I show you guys this, I'm gonna go over it really fast because I just realize what I was trying to say. But yeah, okay. So the king cannot move from h8 to h7 because of the bishop right here. It can come and attack. Okay. So it cannot obviously move right here because the queen is still right there and can come take it right there. And that is square G7. Okay. Now, let's see, it got moved right here to G8 simply because the rook can come take it right there. Okay, and then I'm sure that's it. The only options. So yeah, that's pretty much what a stalemate is. Once again, just over it, I explained it wrong. Stalemate is when you have no other place to move. Your king is in check, not checkmate, which means that there is, well, in any other game of chess, which is not a stalemate, your king would have somewhere to move to, or some way to protect yourself, capture the piece that's checking it, I guess. But since it's by itself, there's no other pieces on the board. There is no other place for it to move. Okay, so a stalemate is your piece is in check, or when your king is in check, there's nowhere else for it to move, not checkmate. Okay, and this is pretty much, technically, in my opinion, your opponent didn't win because they didn't get you in checkmate. So that's kind of okay. Well, I guess you can look at it as a good thing for black, but a bad thing for white. Which is why I was saying again earlier, when you take someone's pieces, your opponent's pieces, be sure to take them strategically so that you don't end up in a still. Now, in addition to that, also it's kind of like rumored, I guess, in the chess community, the chess world, I guess, that the first person to take the piece is, well, I don't know how to say it, but you shouldn't be the first person to take your opponent's piece. Try to avoid it as much as possible. You definitely shouldn't be gunning for your opponent's pieces at the at the beginning of the game, because that's pretty much when you're establishing yourself. When you at the beginning of the game, you want to castle, get all of your power pieces out, and kind of keep your pawns in the back. I like to keep my pawns in the back as much as possible, and then get my power pieces out so that they can, because in my opinion, I'm more of an offensive player. And like in the game of chess, kind of like basketball, football, all the other sports, you have defensive, offensive, and I'm pretty sure there's one other one, but I'm not too sure on what that one is. I don't really remember. But like I said, me personally, I'm an offensive player. I kind of go for the king rather than protecting mines. Like I'll make sure that I'm castling and have the pawns in the front. But other than that, I like to go for my opponents. And so yeah, just at the beginning of the game, you want to make sure that you castle, that you get your power piece out, and yeah. So let's see. I guess we can go over. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I want to go over castling again or if I want to go both. So since we're on this one, we're on the opening, the way to win the game of chess. We're going to go over this again, and then we're going to go over castling. And I keep repeating and going over this just because I want you guys to make sure that you understand. And like I said, if I'm still going too fast, talking too fast, any of that, you can definitely check out the YouTube channel, and it should be on the YouTube channel probably tomorrow or something like that. One of these days coming up, after it's been edited and everything. Okay, so we're going to move the pawn on e2 to e4. Okay, and once again, for the queen as well as the bishop. Now, after that, the pawn for on e7 is going to move to e5. Then we're going to move our bishop or on f1 to c4. And I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to fully let it play so that you guys can see how it works. And then I'm going to go back a few steps and then show you guys how to avoid this as well. So then black's knight on b8 moves to c6. Okay. So then after that, we're going to have our queen come from b1 to h5. Okay. Then after that, we're going to move knight from or on G8 to F6. Okay. And so then after that, the queen comes and takes the piece. So she comes from H5 all the way to F7 and takes the pawn right here. Now, once again, to show you guys why this is checkmate, you cannot move right here because the queen is able to move side to side. Can't take the queen because the bishop is right there. And that's it. Every other piece is still around it, so it cannot move anywhere else. Okay, so like I said, I'm also going to back it up a little bit to, I guess, right here. Um, so if now that I told you guys should be able to spot this. Now, if you see the positioning like this on the board, I personally would come and threaten the queen. And this is because if the queen decides to say, you know what, I'm not scared, and move from H5 to and take the pawn right here, then you have now two pawns that are able to attack the queen. Okay. And that once you capture this queen, let's say, okay, the bishop wants to move right here. The bishop is able to, or okay, so the bishop is now putting the king in check. See, I didn't mention this previously, but you can also, if you really just want to, you can easily move right here. And the bishop, because they move, diagonally, it will not be able to attack you. All it can do is attack this pawn, which you can, and then you can come and take the bishop as well. Or if you want to avoid losing any of your pieces, instead of moving up to E7, come from E8 to F7 and just capture the bishop right there. Okay, so that's that. That pretty much was I'm pretty sure that's called the Queen's opening. Or no, it's called the King's Pawn opening. Sorry. And so that pretty much is just a quick and easy way to win the game of chess. So I pretty much just showed you guys how to do that, as well as how to stop it if someone is trying to do it on you. Okay. So now that we've went over that, go ahead and go over castling as well. Actually, no, that's not that. Let's see. Um, I guess I can go over CPR one more time before this loads. CPR, just remember, guys, capture, protect, retreat, or run, however you want to say it. And then I still want to emphasize controlling the center, the four center square, because, like I said, we apply chess. So if you're controlling your chessboard, you're controlling your life in a literal term, if that makes sense to you guys. Okay, wait, this wasn't even what I wanted to say, you guys. Let's see. Oh, hopefully next Friday or this upcoming Friday, I'll be using the other computer so that we won't have to wait this long. You guys are probably like, it's not even that long, but I'm really impatient. I'm trying to work on that. But yeah, I'm very, very, very impatient. So trying to work on that a little bit. But yeah. So let's see here. I think this is the right thing. If it's not the right thing, then I'll just pull it up. But we're gonna see here. Okay, yeah. So analysis. Also, like I said, if you guys want to set up your own chess accounts, this is what I'm using right now, which is chess. If you guys want to set up your own chess.com accounts and send me a challenge or a game or whatever, however you want to say it, then you can definitely, and then we can definitely play. So yeah, let me see it here. Open link in the tab. Okay. Actually, I guess I'll these out. Hello. Okay, sorry. I'm pretty sure it's almost loaded. Okay, cool. So now, oh my gosh, I thought that it was almost loaded, but I guess not. Um, I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm trying to thanks. Hope you guys had a good day. I hope you guys have a good day tomorrow as well. Um, oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Finally. Okay. So, like I said, we're gonna go over castling one more time. As this is a way to use CPR, which is capture, protect, retreat, and this is a way to protect. So, like I said, on the file, this is called the queen side of castling, and the black is going to do the black is going to do the king side of castling. Sorry. Okay. So now, and also, as you guys can see, there are the three pawns right here. Well, actually, I'll go into that a little bit more. Okay, so to do this, move the king over two squares, and then the rook is going to move over to its side. Okay, now this has four pieces because this has four pawns right in front because let's say that this pawn, well, okay, hold on. I'm gonna move this back so that you guys can see this piece. But let's say that there was an opening right the king is open or vulnerable to an open attack. Okay? In this case, the castling isn't necessarily non-beneficial or pointless, but it is a little. It would be better if it had four pawns, which is why we have three on the kings. Now, once again, just to show you guys this once again, the one, two squares. And just to go over the notation, you're going to move the king from E8 all the way to G8. Okay, so two squares over. Then the rook is going to come from H8 or to F8. Okay, and just to go over the notes so that you guys know, no pun intended, but you cannot castle yourself out of check. Meaning, if your king is being attacked or threatened or whatever, you cannot castle your way out of check. Also, you cannot castle if you have moved your king previously. You cannot castle if you have moved your rook previously. Um, I'm pretty sure that's it. So yeah. And also, as you guys know, there are two rooks, so one on each of the corners. And I'm saying two because each person has two. There's technically four on the board, but two per person. And so you can castle on either side, the queen or the kings, but you have to make sure that you do not move the king or the rook. Okay. If you move the rook on the left side, then you're gonna have to castle on the right. If you move the rook on the right, you have to castle on the left. Okay. So after you move the rook or the king, you cannot cancel with them. Okay. So me personally, what I like to do is just cast at the end of the game. Like I mentioned, just get the power pieces, which is the rook, the bishop, the knight, the queen even. I personally love to use the queen because of how versatile she is. And to me, she's just threatening. I don't know. I like to use her and the rook, surprisingly. I don't know too many people who say that the rook is one of their favorite pieces. But the rook is definitely one of my favorites. I don't know why necessarily, but it definitely is. So, but sorry, that's off topic. But okay, so get the king. I mean, not the king, the queen, the bishop, the knight, and the rooks. Get the or no, not the rooks. I'm sorry. Queen, the bishops, and the knight. Or knights. Get those out, and then use the pawns to protect, and then use the rook or one of the rooks to castle. Okay. So just to go over, because we are close to time, I'm just going to go ahead and go over everything. So we went over a quick recap of what we went over Friday. And once again, if you guys would like to check that out, be sure to check the YouTube channel, and it should be there. Let's see, we went over CPR, we went over castling, CPR, once again, capture, protect, retreat, or run, however you want to say it. We went over casting, which is what we literally just did just now. We went over the center of the board and how it's important in the game, as well as applying the center of the board to the center of your life in the game of chess. So let me just go ahead and stop screen sharing. Okay. So everybody, thank you guys so much. I hope that all of you have a good a good Macca Monday, and that you guys have a good Macca Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday until I see you guys again. So, like I said, be sure to tune in Mondays and Fridays at 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Okay, so like I said, have a good day, and well, I hope you guys had a good day and have a good rest of your day. And I will see you guys later. Bye.